Welcome back to the Pitch Pod, everyone. I'm your host, Jess Stebbins. With me, as always, my co-host, Joe Salt Bae Janner. Joe, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing fine. I mean, I'll take that as a compliment again. As I know it's been a while since I've been able to get into the kitchen and cook up some excellent predictions. Because Jeff, I just have to at this point say, wow, you're doing what you need to do to make some excellent predictions as of late. So hats off to you. But always glad to be here. Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. No, I've seen you in the kitchen, so you get the title of Salt Bae Janner tonight. Well deserved. You're a good chef.
Thanks.
So Joe, so Joe, jumping back, we were just looking at the Arsenal match. Can you kind of walk us through that? I know that for the first 60 minutes of the game, I had no idea what was happening. I did not predict any of that to happen the way it did. So it was a pretty fun match. Can you kind of walk us through that?
For sure. You saw Arsenal come out and dominate in possession for a good bit of the opening phases of play and up to a point of where you did see West Ham wanting to sit back and prepare themselves to counter. They got into that position and won a penalty and were able to convert that to take a 1-0 lead. And at that point, I was like, okay, I don't know if, whether Arsenal can come back. I thought for sure they're going to get another goal. I mean, it goes along the lines of what I predicted in the sense that it was to be a well-contested match. It was just that seemingly after that was Arsenal then taking advantage of some brilliant attacking football to go ahead and score the three. I mean, they got the one, draw level, and two, and then the third. And really, West Ham didn't have much to present as far as any other options aside from what they were trying to do in the counterattack. And Arsenal did well to keep the ball and create chances, and it showed. And I think probably most exciting is the fact that it came from three different goal scorers in three different ways, and it's good. It's a good result for them, and to keep themselves at the top of the table.
Yeah, I was for a second there. I thought we were going to have a big surprise, right? When West Ham went up 1-0, I was thinking, oh my gosh, I did not see this happening. And lo and behold, Arsenal with a couple quick goals and kind of altered the game. The one call I thought was a bit controversial was the first goal that got overturned. At the time, it would have put Arsenal up 1-0, but they decided it was offsides. And the first time I watched it full speed, it looked like a good call. But when they went back and replayed it, and they didn't review it on the field, but afterwards I went back and watched it, and I think one of the Arsenal players might have just barely actually been kept on, and so that should have been a goal if they did review it. I don't know if you had a chance to catch that.
But those are still some big question marks we have with VAR in the sense of what's the protocol exactly is for review. We know the calls in real time are being monitored by those that are in the separate booth, and they're able to see video in different angles, and the communication goes to the center official, and then they get a chance to, or should get a chance to go and review if it was questionable. But I mean, for the goal not to be allowed, I think it's within fair play, and the game was to go on from there. I don't have too many complaints as far as what I saw there, or whether it be in real time and or under review. So, I mean, again, it's always harsh to have what looked like to be a good goal taken away, especially in this game of all about scoring. But really don't have too much more to add to the sense that, I mean, that you're going to have those through the course of the season. It's not still 100% perfect science. They're still sorting out exactly how it's going to come into play. If you're an Arsenal supporter, of course, you would like to have scored first and set the tone that way, and it didn't happen, and it changed. But as I suggested, or as I said, they were probably still confident enough, even after getting up to one goal, they could do what they needed to do to come back and win that, and sure enough, they did.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. And looking ahead here, and Joe and I have the advantage. It's Wednesday night, and we just got done watching the Man City game against Leeds, so we kind of know how that came out and how Haaland did in that game, which we'll briefly mention. But we're looking ahead to this weekend. We're looking at Man City v Everton. Man City has been number 2 in the EPL, just having a great season. Obviously, Haaland's their star, right? On record to break the goal scoring record of the EPL. It's just amazing. And we're going against an Everton team that started off pretty decently under this new coach, but has kind of slid and slid and slid as the season's continued. And now they're almost at the bottom. They're in 17th place. Joe, what are you thinking about this match?
I think that the first bit that you mentioned, Holland's goal scoring, is exceptional in the sense of what we're looking at. Phenomenal. I mean, there's a lot of adjectives you could put onto his performance and the results that he's getting as far as the goal scorer. And it's exactly why he was brought into that Manchester City side. And it is exciting to see what he'll continue to do against a team like Everton. I can't imagine he doesn't at least score one. And I feel like he probably goes, the confidence just builds. I think that what you get with these types of performances, these types of results towards the goal scoring, the confidence just adds on and builds. And he's probably just ready to get into this next match, ready to get an opportunity to score. And I'm predicting that he will score in this next match.
Yeah, Holland's dangerous. I don't think there's an answer on how to slow him down. I don't think that any team's kind of found that out yet. And that's why it would have been really fun to have seen him in the World Cup. Obviously, he wasn't in it, but it would have been really fun to see what a player of his caliber would have accomplished. We already had Messi and Mbappe, those guys in there, but I think Holland's bringing something different, and it would have been fun to have seen him in the mix. Um, Obviously, when he camps out up top in the middle, he can use his big body. It's easier for him to get a head on the ball if there's a cross. So I don't really know how you know, uh, keep him to a limited impact on the game. Obviously, you have to be physical with him, guard him up, never let off for a minute. Um, but at this point in the season, I don't think anyone has the answer on how to shut this guy out completely. He's a great player. He's aware. He has a ton of effort on the pitch. So yeah, I'm definitely excited to see this upcoming match, and I would expect going into this, especially with the momentum coming off the Leeds win tonight, that it should be a Man City victory.
And you alluded to it. You mentioned the fact of teams preparing or even thinking about how they're going to stop him. And I think that's where you shift the conversation to looking at, well, one, you have now a larger sample size, 20 goals in the 14, 15 competitions that you can go back and you can discern what exactly are the moments that are leading up to that. That's as a manager, as a coach, you would be looking to figure out how do you keep him from getting into those chances and getting those opportunities. So whether it's how far you step back, whether you decide you're going to press in certain areas so that you can keep Manchester City from having those opportunities, create those chances. I think that's probably where you start. I don't know that Everton will set up just to park the bus and just sit back and just play anti-football, if you will, and just hope that they can keep them from scoring one goal at the least, and then hoping they maybe somehow nick a goal to go ahead. It'd be really interesting. This would be a fun opportunity to be in their backroom staff right now, trying to see what their conversations are like as far as what they're planning to do against this Manchester City side, and even further, how they're going to prepare themselves for a goal scoring machine in Holland that we've seen so far. So I'm looking forward to this. Again, some may look at the table and the stands and go, well, you're talking about a second place team versus someone at the bottom. Let's write it off. Let's forget about it. It's an easy win. But I think that's why we keep showing up. I think that's what the English Premier League brings is in this game, you never know. And that's why you hope and you anticipate that you're going to still get a good contest. Competition is going to be there. These guys have a lot to play for. These guys in Everton and Frank Lampard have a lot to play for and making sure they can come away with a point. So I think that's probably where their mindset is. I mean, looking to get a point out of this would be a big help for getting them on track for the season. So I think that's probably what they'll play for, being away, getting a draw. That's where I would think that they'd be positioning themselves to play.
Yeah, I think so. And yeah, and Joe, I know we're just coming off of the holiday break here, and I know you celebrated Festivus. Is that correct?
Yes, I did.
Oh,
I had, like I mentioned before, meatloaf dinner. We had opportunity to air some grievances to some family members and some friends. I
well,
was
I
late into the night on
I
the phone, and then the feats of strength didn't quite add to what I thought. I was more so just doing multiple push-ups, challenged myself to a new push-up record. Which I mean, we'll just put it out there. if I can do more push-ups in a session than Haaland scores in the season, I'm doing well for myself.
I got you. Well, Joe, are you ready for your prediction?
I am ready for my prediction. Again, as I was saying, they're set up. They want to nick a draw, if you will, or come out there. I don't see it happening. I really don't. I just still think Manchester City with Haaland, as we've talked about, and goals scoring. I think that Manchester City's going to win. Now, maybe that's where you're at, and maybe the question is in what differential. I do see this possibly being a game where Manchester City goes and runs away with it. I'm going 4-1 Manchester City.
Oh wow, that's a high scoring game. I think you're right. I think Man City's going to win, and I hope it's a better competition than that. I don't know if it will be. I'm going to go with Man City winning. Not quite 4-1 victory. I'm going to give them 2-0.
Okay, so it sounds like we both have Manchester City do what they need to do to win and continue to hold their place in the standings, and Everton not so much. And it'll be just a matter of time before we find out if that's going to be repercussions on us suggested. Frank, I think most of the people that I've talked to that are supporters of the club think that he'll be given the long haul, but you can't if it gets down to a certain situation where it becomes absolutely critical, where they're just falling behind even further. So be interested to see how this turns out.
Yeah, it should be fun. It should be fun. So, yeah, we can't wait to tune in. We hope that everyone out there is enjoying our content, what we're bringing. Please like, subscribe to the Pitch Pod, tell your friends about it, tell your coworkers about it. And as always, keep pitching out there, everybody.
In a game, the round ball, round posts, anything can happen.